Hi everybody, I just wanted to quickly report back from Future Schools here in this amazing setting at the Australian Technology Park. Yesterday I did a workshop on curiosity-based learning, and that sort of started with the idea of a cognitive dissonance, the moment when you learn something that's so brand new that you don't really know how to process it, and that's sort of the beginning of wonder or curiosity-based learning. We talked about the difference between project-based learning, which can just be a project that you complete and not necessarily learn what it is, making a diorama about the book, The Ugly Duckling, and what have you learned from it? Don't know. And then looking at it rather than project-based, problem-based. So you're trying to solve a problem that maybe we pose for the students, and the learning comes through the process of solving the problem. But we really wanted to focus on curiosity-based learning. And curiosity-based learning, or wonder-based learning, the kids have a lot of choice, and they can actually choose not only how they present what they've learned, but they can choose what the question is. So we had an exercise where we were shown some pictures, and we had to just ask the questions that started with who, what, where, why, when kind of questions. And then we put them into 3 groups. One of the groups was Googleable, things that you can just say, you know, hey Google, or ask Siri, and it'll tell you what's the capital of Estonia, for example. Next category was research questions. So we could research. We were shown a picture of a rubbish dump, and we had a research question would be how much rubbish is there in a given area at a certain time. But a wonder-based question is something that it isn't really researchable. There may not even be an answer to it. So we were shown a picture of the Earth in space. When will the aliens arrive? A picture of the rubbish tip again, and I wonder if the microbes in the rubbish tip could form their own society. What if? What if the microbes could form their own society and they were having their own Future Schools conference? So wonder-based or curiosity-based learning is more about what if, and the students having a lot of choice about what they are learning. There was a few little stimulus sites we found for that, and I'll put those in the notes here for this video. But it was really fascinating. We had a go at it with zombies. We did an exercise where the same that the presenters' students did, are zombies real? And the question that came out of that, how would we survive a zombie apocalypse? So we had a great afternoon coming up with ways to use Google Maps. We looked on the CDC, the American Center of Disease Control site, and if you have a look there is a page about how to survive a zombie apocalypse, which surprised us. And we just basically learned to do some research on something that's hopefully impossible, but we learned a lot about how to set out our planning. And we learned a lot about assessment too, and this is the thing that I think we're going to want to discuss. Our presenter basically said that rubrics are the death of wonder. They're the death of curiosity, because they tell kids exactly what to do and how to show their work. So she presented an option that was badges. And badges, you think about Girl Scouts, you get or Boy Scouts, you get a badge when you have shown that you can complete something. So a similar thing is air points or loyalty rewards. So you feel good if you're on TripAdvisor and you have earned a certain status. So it can be good to get you a reward, that free coffee, or it can be good to put you in that status group if you are in the, I don't know what kind of frequent flyer group you can get into, and that's the social status. So the good thing about badges is that they give you social status points. So for our zombie thing, we had a badge for forager, and the first level of forager was you stayed alive. So it's not saying you have to gather this number of you know, a day's worth of food or anything quantitative. It's that you survived. Forager number 2 was that you had enough to survive comfortably. Now what that is, or how you would do that, or what the supplies are, the students need to come up with that. But how we reward that is we give them a badge for that. And there isn't anywhere that says that it has to be 2 days food. It's sort of like Forager 2, you're full. And Forager 3 badge, you have enough to share. And so that's where it gets into the community. So there's a lot of things on here that's not about being quantitative. It's about the students knowing that they've learned something, that they've passed a point, and earning something as a motivation, but also showing us that they have the skills that we want. So we set up the badge system, and there could be a community badge in there where they're looking after each other. There's a hunter badge, there's a warrior badge, and they can be things that relate to the kids. One of the other groups had a Hawkeye badge for the one who could figure out the route the best. The presentations were really interesting, but the process was what was most interesting, and something worth discussing. And otherwise, the other big thing that came out of yesterday was that the most effective professional development that you can do is just the same as the badges work socially, it's peer-to-peer, teacher-to-teacher professional development. And that's what seems to have the most impact, and that's where everybody's going. We're all full of, maybe not always expertise, but we all have something to teach each other. And so we talked about a few ways like ed camps and app speed dating, where we could show each other around. And I know some of that's happened at St. Monica's before. So it seems like there are some great things that we can already be doing without pulling in the so-called experts all the time to tell us something new. So that's my quick report. Oh, I have one final thing to say, of course, and that's failing. We talked a lot about when you're doing curiosity-based learning or wonder-based learning, it is like anything, it is really celebrated to fail, because if you're not failing, then you're not trying anything new. If you're just ticking the boxes, then you don't fail, but it limits what the capacity of what you can learn, and the breadth and the depth of what you can learn to some degree. So we really celebrated failure, #FAILFEST, and some schools even had a trophy where the teachers who had the recent most spectacular fail was awarded the trophy until the next teacher. And one school actually had a car park for it. So if you were the best failer who had tried something really innovative and you failed, then that car park was yours. Something maybe we could think about doing. So that was my first day at Future Schools here in Sydney.